Hello and welcome to my channel. Kindly hit on the subscribe button and join in the comment section too as well. We can always interact. Today, I'll take a look at why I feel Chrishughton will succeed as a Black Stars coach. So I've tabled down 7 reasons why I think Chrishughton is going to be successful as a Black Stars coach. But first of all, let me congratulate the Ghana Football Association for doing a quick U-turn in appointing Chrishughton as a Black Stars head coach. A lot of Ghanaians were not happy with the appointment of, well, initially they were okay with the appointment of Otoado, but along the line, they felt the commitment of Otoado was questionable. So they were quite not pleased with our Black Stars still, because at the point, the love was already back. I mean, I recall after the Nigerian Hedo, the home and away fixture, especially the home fixture at the Barbara Sports Stadium, it had a lot of people having interest in the Black Stars again. And of course, the zeal of getting into the World Cup proper, because the previous World Cup, Ghana, had not represented. So, interestingly, Ghanaians were quite excited. Now, Chrishughton, the bigger picture. And again, I say I congratulate the Ghana Football Association. This is what all Ghanaians needed. I went onto the grounds to speak with some Ghanaians, trying to find out whether they are okay with this kind of appointment. And indeed, on testification or in testimony, a lot of Ghanaian football enthusiasts mentioned that he's the man for the job. And this is why I've penciled down, I've penned down. I already have a pen in my hand. So this is why I feel Chrishughton will succeed as a Black Stars head coach. Now, we are talking about a man who believes in structure and organization. One thing that is lacking in our Black Stars fold is a means of what we want to identify, a style of play, a certain philosophy that is laid down for our Black Stars to succeed. Now, this is a coach on my first point of tabling. I say Chrishughton, formation and philosophy. I believe that this is a coach who believes in of course, every coach is having a formation, as in how he plans to lay down the players. But what is quite influential is the philosophy, is what is left on the team. This is a man that has that abilities. He's well organized. We saw him and we've read a lot about him at Brighton, even at Tottenham Hotspur when he was given that interim job to foresee the affairs of the first team, and he quite showed what the idea on his mind as a coach in what he would want to experiment. So I believe that with the Black Stars, initially when we went to the World Cup in previous times with Milovan, we had a certain style and a system of play. In a 4-2-3-1 formation, there was a block in defense in how we get back and defend without the ball, and when we are surging up front, how we are able to plan to make sure we get the goal. It was very difficult to beat Ghana, so the goal margin was not one that you'll be shy about. And Ghanaians are people who, even if you play good football and you do not win at crucial moments, they're quite pleased with it. We've seen that in previous times. So there's a man who believes in philosophies and systems and organization, or team structure and what have you. And with the crop of players that we saw, the last with which we saw at the World Cup, I am of the view that this is the perfect coach for the job. Well, this is his first time of handling a national team, because he's already been given the Black Stars job, and we are yet to see what he can do with the national side. But he's been with the club side, and it's week in, week out. And if you are not consistent enough, my second point I would meant to mention, you'll be found wanting. So he has a philosophy, an idea of Black Stars lack for something. I feel that we can have that idea back for our Black Stars. We can have something that our Black Stars can identify themselves with. I'll come again and tell you about how this coach is able to diversify his style when we are defending, or when the Black Stars is to attack, and the kind of players, for example, we need for what. But my second point is support from the Ghana Football Association. One point that a lot of Ghanaians have been worried about here in our fold is the kind of support we give to our coaches. This is I mean, where issues of was the right word, issues of intruding in someone's job, trying to interference. I want to recall, that's the word I want to use, interference. I feel the Ghana Football Association should give Chris all the support we need, because the back and forth for me is too much. We even see that in our play. Forgive me. We see that in our play, because when we go into tourneys, for example, we only shine in 1 or 2 games, and the next game is abysmal. What we need is the full concentration that this guy could get to do his job. He's an experienced coach. He has over 30 years of experience in the game. And even at club level, where the demand is super high, he was able to deliver. And I'm of the view that should we give him the needed support with the experience that he has, he'll be able to do the job. And I feel again that he's been close to the Black Stars. Or he was the technical advisor to the Black Stars, technical team. He went to the World Cup with them. And because he's a man who has a calm composure, he even in huge celebration. I recall one time when he beat Manchester United back to back, I think in the year 2017, 2018, and in the dressing room, I was reading one of the commentaries on the players, and the player was saying that he's a manager who was very calm and he was collected, even though he's beaten Manchester United at that point at Amex Stadium and all of that. He was quite calm, and because of this composure this man has, I believe he's learnt a lot from where he assumed the position as a technical director. So he really got a lot of experience as in the ins and outs of the Black Stars and what have you. And I didn't believe he was interrupting or in want of words, influencing decisions that was made by Otuado. He allowed Otuado work. Occasionally, he gave advice to what have you. So I believe that with his experience, he can do this job. Now, continuity is important. One of the reasons why I was applauding the Ghana Football Association for a good job done. The Black Stars saw Otuado, and Chris was there. So continuity is important. Chris saw what was going on right and what was not going on right. So this is the appropriate time, the AP time for me, I believe, to continue where we stopped. We had a pool of young players, and this is the first time I'm seeing something of the sort, that we have a lot of younger players than the so-called experienced players in our setup. Only that for me, I feel Otuado did not have the right approach for the Black Stars to succeed. It was quite clear, because when these players went back to their club side, we saw the numbers, we saw what they were doing, and it was impactful in their sides that they were playing for. So continuity is quite important. My second point that I'm building, that continuity for the Black Stars. This is the coach for the job, because he can continue where we ended, and his experience on the club side, he's a guy that pays attention to details. He's a guy that cares about every player, every position. And I'm saying that I'm going to tell you why I feel we are going to have our glory days back, that if you don't beat us and we beat you 1-0, it is going to be very difficult for you to equalize or probably beat us, because this is a coach that pays attention to details. Every department of the game, the defensive area, the midfield, and of course the offensive area of our game. This is a coach who pays attention to details. So continuity is quite important. And my second point that I talk about. Now, the third point is how he will link these Black Stars players, our young, exuberant players who are now the talk of Europe, how he will blend the English experience he has with these players. Already we have some players who are applying their traits in the English Premier League. We have Brighton's Tariq Lamptey. We have Andre Morgan. The guy, even with his experience, is back in the Premier. He left his back, quite influential, to inform how our game goes in the AFCON that is approaching. And I'll tell you again why we should not use the AFCON as a means to judge him. Reasons why I feel the Ghana Football Association should have been very smart to tell us that Chris is staying for 3 years with an option to extend. We need continuity. If we want to progress and do something impactful at the World Cup, as we did in SA in 2010, this is the approach we should use. We should give long-term contract to coaches on performance-based. and then we can come back and criticize these coaches very well. I have also written here some players like Kamadin Sulemana. Kamadin is also in the English Premier League, which I believe that there's a style and approach. The English Premier League is quite pacey. You think on your feet, and these players, if you have a pool of them, quite a number in influential areas in our playing in the English Premier League, that's quite sensitive. Kamadin is an offensive player, and if he's there, he's forming part of our offensive crew, and that's quite material. We have Andre Morgan there, who also plays in the forward lines, and it's quite positive. We have him also there, learning some bits in that space. So Mohamed Salisu, wouldn't be difficult for these main players to augment the style of play of the coach, or probably to comprehend what the coach would want to execute for our Black Stars. I feel that with every approach the coach was able to do for Brighton, that got them into the Premiership, that got them to stay in the Premiership during his tenure for 2 consecutive seasons, or for 2 separate seasons. Reasons why he should apply all these wisdom into making sure the Black Stars become a hard side to beat, if not a hard side to play against. For other players like Abdul Salis Samed, players like Abdul Fattah Isahaku, a brilliant chap. I mean, the Kudus Mohammed is always on the news for Ajax, and under his new coach, I know he loves to play him more. Ali Duseidu. So in every department of our team, we have young players who are willing to deliver. We have guys who are ready for what. And I feel with this pool, the coach he's a coach who's daring. He always wants to think about new ideas and what he can implement. And this is a coach that once upon a time, he had 4 matches to make sure his side stay in the league, and he augmented the style. For him, it was about building points to stay in the league. Is why again I believe that if we go into tournament with such a coach, I mean, how many matches are we playing in a tournament? We start from the group stages. We qualify to the next phase of the competition, which is round of 16. Then we go into, if the World Cup is staying at the same format, or the AFCON stays at the same format, which we know, it gets into the round of 8. It gets into the semis and the final. Probably you are just thinking about 7 games. And with 7 matches, a manager who knows approach into gathering points, I feel is the right guy we need in our Black Stars. And without interference, a little bit of belief in him from our association. I'll talk about the Ghanaian fans and all of that. I've built points to explain what I feel will be key to Chris's success, because I believe he is the man to succeed with our Black Stars, or probably get us a first trophy in how many years? So with this crop of players, I believe with his experience, over 30 years of experience, he's been with a junior team, the under 21s. He's been a standing coach for a big team like Spurs. He's come with Newcastle United, with Norwich. I believe that with such experience that he's learnt in the English Premier League in particular, with these boys scattered around in Europe who love pacey football, who run back and defend and what have you, these are the guys that will do the trick for him. And most importantly, these are players who are having a lot of playing time, which is, I've not even mentioned the likes of Danamate and Jordan Ayew, who also been playing in the English Premier League. It tells you what we have at our hands as Black Stars players. And if this coach is coming, he can attract the other guys who aren't ready, or a bit in a dilemma, or to come and play for our stars. Talking about the Arsenal champ, Adin Katia, and these guys scattered around. I mean, he's a manager who is adored and respected by other nationals, because he's coached a lot of players from different nationalities, and they believe in him. He can do that, and these players are having regular playing times in their fold, and I'm of the faith that given the time, he can succeed with these players, because they are playing week in, week out. They are learning each and every moment, because their leagues in the foreign space demands that they learn game after game, and the coach wouldn't have much to worry about. He just need the right selection, the peace of mind to work, and for him to experiment the identity and the philosophy we want to live on Ghana, and I believe he can do that. This is the man I believe he has Ghana at heart. The reason why I'm saying this is he was in the country even before Tuado was named as a coach. He had wanted this job a long time ago, speaking to important figures in the country, gaining the love of Ghanaians. Ghanaians automatically loving him, when they heard the name Chris. And we have foreign internationals as head coaches of the national team. We tried local coaches, it didn't work. This is a guy who played for Ireland, is a guy who has a instinct of, the English background. He's a guy who believes that he hails from Ghana and what have you, and has the nation, at heart and what have you. And I feel, he can do the job. Now I talk about formation and style of play. Interestingly, he's a coach that loves to switch when it comes to formation. He loves to stick to the 4-2-3-1, which when we were playing in time past. Talk about the Black Stars, and when the team is in the offensive area, is what he would want to do. For me, I feel a back four of Dennis Odoi, for experience sake, in our back lines, or Ali Diseidu at our back, or at the fullback areas, and the 4 and 5 playing, say, an experienced Dana Mate, or if you want, playing Alexander Jiku and Mohammed Salisu is the right way to go with. The left back is what we've been questioning, and I think Gideon Mensah can do the job. If this coach is deciding right, this back four can play the system he loves most, because he's a coach that wouldn't love his back lines to move. He's not a coach that loves high lines, playing close to the center circle or a bit into the opposition half, high lines, and keeping that line. He's not a coach that believes in. He's a coach that he believes in when the line moves a bit, it should be somewhere around the center arc in his area, where you still keep the fullbacks in position, where they don't run too much to doing a lot of crosses, and occasionally they can go and do that, but at many times you'd want to keep his back line in shape to try an argument. So if it is in a 4-2-3-1 with Daniel Amate, because I've taken him from the defensive area, with Daniel Amate and either Summit or Thomas Partey. Well, I've not even mentioned Thomas Partey. He's also in the English Premier League. That's quite interesting, isn't it? So, with this approach, if he's using a 4-2-3-1 formation in an offensive manner, he can plant Thomas and Daniel in that front, and they play in the English Premier League week in, week out. We know what we've seen from Thomas if he's not in the Arsenal setup. We've seen Daniel Amate, what he does for his side in the English Premier League. Talk about Leicester City, and they can handle that position very well, giving the defensive cover. If you are wanting and talking about experience in Alexander Jiku and Mohamed Salisu, they can give a massive cover in that area. And of course, the three in front of them, of course, you wouldn't miss Kudos out. You are planting Kudos right in the middle, maybe planting on Jordan Ayew on the left, and say on the right, of course, either on the left or right. You can either plant Jordan on the right, put Abdel Fattah Issahaku on the left. We can always switch, and that's the most important key area of our game. And finding a striker like Felix Afenejan. We should not forget that lad. This is a lad that went to Roma, played under Jose Mourinho in the junior side, got opportunity in the first team, and for playing time they took him to Cremonese, and he can do the job, and I believe he can do the job. And if you are discovering a striker in the caliber of our legend Asamoah Gyan, it takes time. Asamoah Gyan is one in a million. That's when he was even young, he was scoring dangerous goals, and we can give this lad the opportunity and occasionally switch him and give the other guys like Antion Semenyo the opportunity. These are fine guys we have, and they are young. And that's the important thing we should know. So planting a 4-2-3-1 formation, I think it will work perfectly. Occasionally switching in a 4-4-1, 4-4-1-1 when we are defending is quite instrumental, so that we can use our pace and all of those things when we are attacking up front. So I believe that the alternative formation and style that Chris uses in playing at a point in time a 4-2-3-1, at a point in time a 4-4-2, at a point in time, he keeps on, for example, a 4-5-1, and these are approaches that would fit in the Black Stars crop of players that we have now. I believe that it's the way to go. They will fit in perfectly, and the job is done. especially going into a tournament, we need goals. We need an approach. We need a system. We need a structure. And I believe this is the way to go. So that's my fifth point on my rating pad here. And the next point is focused on development of our Black Stars. I believe that even though we have a lot of, a crop of talented young players, it is also quite key that we think afore. That's reasons why I was calling for a long-time contract for this coach. If we're giving him, say, 3 years on the basis of knowing that our Black Stars aren't there yet, we are at the developmental stage of our Black Stars, and it's only that we are blessed with a pool of players across Europe who are super talented, and they will need the time to grow. This is a period where we would need this kind of coach, a coach that focuses on development. He did that with Brighton. He's done that with Spurs during his time, and he's the man, I believe, that thinks of play from behind. For the first time we saw our Black Stars building play from defense, from the goalkeeper, right from the goalkeeper, and trying to plant up front, and that's quite instrumental when we put development afore and give him the time to develop our Black Stars. We should never be thinking of winning the African Cup of Nations. I'm sorry, we should never be thinking of winning the African Cup of Nations, say 2024. If we win, hallelujah. But if we do not win the African Cup of Nations in 2024, even though there are glimpses of brightness in our Black Stars, these are players who are 19, 20, 21, and they can play for about 5 years. The very crop of players that we are gathering, they can play for. And team cohesion is quite important. So let's allow him build the cohesiveness of the team. He's a man who knows that job and how it's been done in the setup. He did it for Brighton. He qualified them. I tell you, the number of points that he advanced them into the league was quite instrumental. It was only Newcastle that came second to them during that championship time. And when they came into the league proper, they were adjudged one of the, on top of the list, about the fifth best team in terms of attacking and trying to hold and control game in the defensive areas. So development is key for our Black Stars. This is the time for us to get a lot of patience and allow Chris to do his job. With this point of the faith that Chris will be the guy to succeed with our Black Stars. Now, the plan to win a trophy. We should draw a plan to win a trophy. It's quite instrumental. What is the approach we want to use? Which is the year we want to win that trophy, that all-important trophy that has eluded us for quite some time now. We need to have a plan. We need to tell ourselves that we want to win the next the AFCON, that is 3 years after us, say after 2024, after say 2026, say after 22, we want to win it, say in 2028. And I'm just mentioning years, but there might be changes as in when the AFCON will be played due to circumstances that surround our game. But I believe that we must have a plan. We must have timelines, and that's why we need to give him a long-term contract and allow him some bit of space to work. So we should plan and have that vision of winning the AFCON, not in 2024 and not in the next AFCON after 2024, probably the third AFCON in 2024, where these players will be quite matured. And on the minimum, say after the AFCON 2024, we should be planning to win the next AFCON. Because then the coach would have had time to know his players ins and outs, those by numbers who are performing and what have you, and that will be the right time to win. And not be thinking about 2026 going to the World Cup and win. We should be at the World Cup to show our dominance, to announce to the world we have certain stars and all of that. We should have targets. Where do we want to get to at the next World Cup? It should be something that the SFA should explain it to this coach. It's something that this coach should have for his mind. And I believe Chris has some idea of what he wants to do with the Black Stars. He had opportunity to go elsewhere and coach at club side in England. He decided he wanted to do national team stuff. He could have gone to Ireland. He could have joined the queue in trying to contend Gareth Southgate for the English managerialship position. But he decided to come to Ghana, where he believes his roots is from, and do the trick from here. Now, the next point I'm particular about, Ghanaian funds. Please. I'm saying please on this because I believe Ghanaians, we are impatient, especially when it comes to what we have passion, what we attach passion too. We are impatient, and for the first time, I just believe that we should have patience for Chrishughton. Things won't go well at a point in time. It's football. Things won't go well at a certain point in time, and we might even, before anything springs up, before a seed gets out from the ground, it struggles a bit in the soil. And we are at that stage where we should know that we are not there as Ghanaian, as a footballing nation. That is why we need to take time for this coach and allow him to, grow into our game, and of course, identify a style of play for us. Of course, leave a philosophy behind. Of course, engineer our continuity. Of course, use these players we have to engineer a certain style of play, blending with the English style of football, the aggressive or playing football when we have to recover and to attack. And of course, having him experiment what he have for in his mind to help us get to our glory days. So Ghanaians need to be a lot a lot more patient. They need to have the love for this coach, or the support. Just as we're asking the Ghana Football Association not to interfere in the job of this coach, we're also asking Ghanaians not to interfere in the job of this coach. Ghanaians should not interfere in the job of this coach. We should give him the time, and I am of the belief and faith that should all these points be followed, once he's a coach that played at the left back position and has a certain style of play, and his main feature in his coaching style is defending, we can get back to our glory days when we played the likes of Italy, the Czech Republics, and you saw the goal margin was not humiliating, and that's the most important point. And we can use him to take that glory we had in 2010 back, where we went to South Africa, and the SA fans at the point in that crucial game against Uruguay were saying Bagana, and it was a blend of Bafana and Ghana, and they wanted to be Ghanaian footballing fans. We need a bit of patience to make sure we allow Chrishughton succeed. With this point, I believe this is why Chrishughton will succeed as the Black Stars coach, and we should give him the massive support. Again, congratulations to the Ghana Football Association. One thing that I feel the FA should have done before they brought that post up was to tell us how many years and how many years this coach is going to spend under Black Stars. It's all important, especially in what if we want to do something with this nice, calm, composed gentleman. And I believe we can do the job. From that space when we meet any team in the world. I am Bernard Abeku Ochre once again. The name is Abeku Ochre on this YouTube platform. Kindly stick and stay here. Subscribe. Please subscribe to the page. It's quite important. And put your notification button on as well. And hope to see you in the next video. Thank you very much.